Hey class, welcome to week 5 of remote learning here. Hope everyone had a nice weekend, and we're gonna, continue keep on going here. Okay. So this week we're gonna continue factoring, but this week we're gonna focus on trinomials here, right? Trinomials have 3 terms. All right. So this is gonna be day 1 of factoring trinomials. All right. And to start off here, you guys are going to do a little warm up, all right? So I want you guys to try to do problems 1 and 2 here, all right? And the directions say to simplify these following polynomials by multiplying. Hint, you're going to use that FOIL method, right? That first, outer, inner, last. All right, so why don't you go ahead and pause the video here and try these 2 problems on your own, and then we'll kind of see what answers you get here. Awesome. All right, let's see how we did here, right? Using that FOIL method is multiply our first terms, right? We have x times x. We're going to multiply our outside terms, or this positive x times a positive 3. We're going to multiply our inside terms, or a positive 5 times a positive x. And then we're going to finally multiply our last terms, or our positive 5 times positive 3. All right, and then we're going to go ahead and here and simplify this. X times x, remember, gives us x squared, plus x times 3 gives us 3x, plus 5 times x gives us 5x, plus 5 times 3 is 15. And we're almost done, right? Except we had to combine those like terms. So then we get x squared plus 8x plus 15. All right, and we're going to do the same thing on number 2 here, right? Our first terms are going to be 2x times x, right? And I'm going to do this a little quicker this time, right? 2x times x gives us 2x to the second power. Then you should have gotten 2x times 2, which gives us 4x. And then we should have multiplied our inside terms, or 6 times x gives us 6x. And then we multiply those last terms, right? 6 times 2 gives us 12. And now we combine our like terms of these 2 right here, that 4x and 6x. So our final simplified solution should give us 2x squared plus 10x plus 12. All right, and why did I have you warm up with these problems? You'll find out here in just a minute, all right? All right, so today's lesson, again, is factoring trinomials, all right? So if you have not printed out these notes, right, print these out so you can follow along and take the notes here, all right? It's going to be really helpful for you to do these practice problems as long as I do them, so that when we do our homework after this, that you'll be in good shape for the homework, okay? And for this lesson, all right, you are going to need that factors chart, right? Hopefully you guys used it last week and found it helpful. Again, you're going to need it this week as well, all right? And I put it back into the next week 5 folder here, right? So if you go into e-learning materials and you look in week 5, all right, there's that factors chart document that you should have out in front of you. Hopefully you printed off last week if you are able to print it off. If not, again, that's okay, but have this document out and ready when we do the notes here and when you do the homework after the notes, okay? So here we go, all right, factoring trinomials, all right? And again, if you remember from last week, factoring means we're to break something down into parts or factors that multiply together, all right? And trinomials, right, have a special way of factoring here, all right? And we're going to talk about this special way that trinomials factor, all right? So a trinomial, again, is 3 terms, right? And it's going to look like this ax squared plus bx plus c, all right? And the trinomials that we're going to deal with for this week and next is all going to be where this a value is just 1. All right, and again, 1 is that invisible number, so it's always going to be like an x squared term is what we're going to be looking at for the next 2 weeks. All right, and so to factor a trinomial of this form, all right, we must find 2 numbers or factors that multiply to c, or like my last term, and that add to b, or that middle term, all right? So we're looking for 2 numbers that multiply to that last term. All right, so now let's actually do some of these problems here and see what I'm talking about. All right, so for number 3, right, and directions say just to factor each trinomial, all right, and that trinomial is 3 terms, so we're going to have to break this expression down of x squared plus 9x plus 14. All right, so we have to break this expression down into pieces that multiply together. All right, so to do this, we want to find factors of 14. All right, so the factors of my last term is what I'm going to put here for this factors of. All right, and factors of mean what numbers multiply to 14, right? So the numbers that multiply to 14 are 1 and 14 and 2 and 7, right? And if we didn't know that, that's okay, right? Because we're going to reference this factors chart document, all right? So if we look here, number 14, right, we can see that's 1 and 14 and 2 and 7. All right, so now those are my 2 pairs of numbers that I have to work with, all right? And out of those 2 pairs of numbers, I need to find which one of these pairs adds up to 9. Well, 1 plus 14 doesn't add to 9, but 2 plus 7 gives me my 9. Okay, so I found my factor pair that I need, all right? And now to factor this, to break this down into pieces that multiply, all right, a trinomial will always factor this way. Okay, so my solution, we're going to say, is going to look like this with 2 sets of parentheses. All right, and for the trinomials where it's just that a value is 1, these 2 first spots here are always going to be filled with an x and an x. All right, and now I got to put something in these 2 spots. All right, and it's going to be that factored pair that I circled up above. All right, so my solution is going to be x plus 2 times x plus 7. All right, and that's just a special way how trinomials factor. All right, and if we wanted to check our answer to see if we can get back to what we started with, right, we can just do that FOIL method, right? Oh, wait a second, we did that earlier in our warm-up. Oh my goodness, look at that, right? So in examples 1 and 2 in our warm-up, it looks like we FOIL to get our trinomial, and now we're doing like the exact opposite. All right, so we're starting with a trinomial, and now we want to break it down into 2 binomials. Look at that. All right, so hopefully you'll begin to see the pattern here, right, of these trinomials will always break down into 2 binomials. All right, I know I'm throwing a lot of language at you, but again, with some practice here, you guys will get this down in no time. All right, so number 4, all right, we're going to factor this trinomial of x squared plus 7x plus 12. All right, so again, we're going to look for factors of 12, right, factors of that last number that add to 7, or my middle number, right? So now I'm going to list out my factors of 12. We have 1 times 12, we have 2 times 6, and we have 3 times 4. All right, so those are all my factors of 12. So out of those 3 pairs, right, which one of these adds to positive 7? Well, it's going to be 3 plus 4 gives me that positive 7. All right, so that means I'm going to use that 3 and that 4. Okay, so now for my solution, right, again, it's always these sets of parentheses, and it's going to be x plus 3 times x plus 4. And that is my factored solution. All right, so now let's see the steps that I just did here. Okay, so here are the steps to factor trinomials. All right, and this is when my a value is 1. All right, so step 1 is going to be to identify those b and c values, right? So we got to pick up where is that b value and what is that c value. All right, and then I'm going to write those factors that multiply to c, or my last term. All right, I'm going to write those down using that t-chart. All right, and then step 3 says to find the factored pair that adds up to b, or that middle term. All right, so after you list out all those factors of that last term, you're going to find out which one of those adds up to your middle term, or your b. All right, and then lastly, you're going to substitute that factored pair into 2 binomials. All right, it's going to be always x and an x, all right, or it could be y and a y if it was a different letter, but the ones you're going to see are all just going to be x's, okay? And it's going to be 2 binomials, all right, so it's going to be x plus some number times x plus some other number. All right, so now let's do some more practice here. All right, so number 5 says we have x squared plus 9x plus 18. All right, so we want to find factors of 18 that add to 9. All right, well, what are my factors of 18? Now I'm drawing a hard time figuring that out. All right, so again, I can reference this factors chart to help me out. And here it is on the bottom, right? Those are my 3 factor pairs of 18, right? 1 and 18, 2 and 9, and 3 and 6. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and list out those factored pairs. All right, so we have 1 and 18, 2 times 9, and 3 times 6. All right, so after I list out those factor pairs, I want to see which one of these adds to 9. All right, well, here it is, right? It's going to be 3 plus 6 is going to give me my 9. All right, and when we factor this way, right, one of these pairs is going to have to give me that answer. It's going to have to add up to that middle term. All right, otherwise this thing is not going to be factorable, okay? And for all the problems we're going to see this week and next, right, everything's going to be factorable. All right, so now I'm ready to do my solution, right? Again, it's going to be 2 sets of parentheses, right? 2 binomials, and it's always going to be x and x. All right, so now it's going to be x plus 3 times x plus 6. All right, because 3 plus 6 gives me that 9, and 3 times 6 gives me that 18. So that is my factored solution. All right, let's try number 6. X squared plus 10x plus 24. All right, again, I'm going to find factors on my last term, on my c value, which is going to be factors of 24 that add to 10. All right, so again, I'm going to list out those factors of 24. All right, so we have 1 and 24. We have 2 times 12. We have 3 times 8. And we have 4 times 6. All right, again, if we didn't know that, right, if we didn't know our factors of 24, we reference this chart here. All right, so those are the 4 pairs of factors. All right, and now looking at those 4 pairs, right, which one of these adds to 10? Yep, that's right. It's going to be that 4 and 6. Right, because 4 plus 6 gives me my 10. So that's the winning pair that I'm going to use for my solution now. All right, so now I can say it's going to be x plus 4 times x plus 6, right? And the order doesn't matter. I could write x plus 6 times x plus 4. That part doesn't matter, okay? But it just has to be a positive 4 with a positive 6. All right, we got a couple more to do. All right, number 7. All right, we're going to factor this, right? X squared plus 27x plus 50. All right, so that means we want to find factors of 50 that add to 27. All right, well, my factors of 50, I don't know my factors of 50, right? So I'm going to look at this chart here. And 50 is on the bottom. Right, oh, there they are. Those are my 3 factored pairs, right? It's going to be 1 and 50, 2 and 25, and 5 and 10. So 1 and 50, 2 and 25, and 5 times 10. All right, and then out of those 3 pairs, right, I'm going to find the pair that adds to 27, and it's going to be 2 and 25. So now I'm ready to factor this. All right, so now I'm ready to write my 2 sets of parentheses, right, or my 2 binomials, right? It's going to be x plus 2 times x plus 25. And that is my factored solution. All right, we got one more here. All right, and if you're not able to print out the notes, all right, you can just draw like a little T-chart here. All right, and then you can either write the words factors, right, or multiply till 63 and adds to 24. All right, just make yourself a quick little T-chart, and then multiplies is the same thing as factors, right, and adds to 24, right? So you can just use a little multiplication sign for that x and an addition sign for the plus for adds to, if you're not able to print out these notes. All right, so now I'm going to find factors of 63. All right, again, I'm just going to reference this chart, because I don't have all my factors of 63 memorized, but there they are right there. All right, so those are my 3 pairs of factors for 63. So that's what I'm going to write down here on the left side of this chart. All right, so we have 1 and 63. We have 3 times 21, and we have 7 times 9. All right, and once I list out those factors, I find the pair that add to 24. All right, and once I have my pair, now I'm ready to write my solution as 2 binomials, right? So I can already set up my 2 sets of parentheses, and I know it's going to be x and an x, right? So it's going to be x plus 3 times x plus 21. All right, and that's how you factor trinomials. All right, now it's time for you to do some of your own practice. You can do the homework, practice 7.5. You'll find that assignment in Schoology. And again, just try your best with it. And I know you guys will do well. All right, we'll talk soon.